Settling along the Huang River. Chinese civilization arose along the Huang River, also called the Yellow River. By around 5000 BC, farmers had settled in a number of villages in this river valley. Over time, powerful rulers united these villages to create large kingdoms. Among these, the Shang kingdom rose to become the most influential. Geography of China. Today, the country of China is a huge land, similar in size to the United States. Much of China is covered in rugged mountains and vast deserts. Despite the challenges of the geography, early people found the resources they needed along China's river valleys. River systems. Rivers helped China's development, just as they aided the development of civilizations in Mesopotamia, Egypt, and India. China has two main rivers, the Huang and the Qiang. They provide water for farming. People move goods along these waterways. Both rivers begin in the high mountains of western China. The Qiang is China's longest river, but the Huang River is especially important to Chinese early history. It flows east to the Yellow Sea. Along the way, this river crosses the flat North China Plain. Winds from the Gobi Desert blow loess onto the Huang River Valley. Loess is a fine, dust-like material that can form soil. The Huang River cuts through deep deposits of loess and picks it up. The loess makes the river muddy and turns the river yellow. The name of the Huang River comes from this mud. In Chinese, Huang means yellow. When the river overflows its banks, it deposits the loess on the surrounding plain. The fertile soil makes the North China Plain well suited for agriculture. Even with simple tools, ancient farmers could easily plant their crops in a soft soil. It is on this plain that the people created the first large settlements in China. Isolation. China is nearly surrounded by physical barriers. Two great deserts, the Taklamakan and the Gobi, lie to the north and west of China. The towering Himalayas form a wall between China and India. To the south lie more mountains, and to the east stretches the vast Pacific Ocean. Travel and trade between China and other civilizations was difficult. Some early innovations, such as the domesticated horse and the chariot, may have come to China from Western Asia. However, ancient China was largely cut off from other forms of civilization. It developed its own traditions and way of life. The Shang Dynasty. From the early settlements along the Huang River, the Shang kingdom rose to dominate a large part of the region. The language and culture of the Shang would have a lasting influence on China. The Shang Rise. Farming villages grew along the Huang River. The people used stone tools and made pottery and silk cloth. Some of these villages had chiefs or rulers who organized workers and commanded warriors. Strong chiefs led their warriors to take control of nearby villages, creating small kingdoms. By around 1700 BC, one of those kingdoms began to expand. A ruler from this kingdom founded the Shang dynasty. A dynasty is a ruling family that holds power for many years. This dynasty lasted some 600 years. It is the earliest dynasty for which we have a written record. Shang government. Strong rulers ran the government. The Shang kept power within the family. Rule passed from brother to brother and from youngest brother to his oldest son. The Shang leaders organized groups of farmers to clear and prepare new land. The result was larger harvests. With extra food, Shang rulers could support many soldiers. They attacked neighboring lands and expanded their territory. Soldiers fought with bows, lances, and bronze axes. Some rode into battle in chariots. Shang rulers used their wealth to build a number of large walled cities. They also tried to control the floods along the Huang River. They built dikes or walls to hold back water. Writing. The earliest written records from China are oracle bones from the Shang dynasty. Oracle bones are animal bones or turtle shells carved with written characters that the Shang kings used to try to tell the future. Questions were written on the bone, which was then heated until it cracked. The king or priest would interpret the cracks to get an answer. No one knows exactly how the cracks were read. At times, the Chinese also used oracle bones to record important events related to their questions. From these written records, scholars have learned much about ancient China and its rulers. The Shang did not use an alphabet for their written words, which are called characters. Instead, some characters were pictographs, that is, pictures that represent words or ideas. Other characters were a combination of symbols. Some symbols stood for the meaning of the word, while others represented the sound. By 1300 BC, the Shang had a fully developed writing system. Many ancient characters became the writing Chinese people use today. The sound changed, but their meaning can still be understood. Today, written Chinese has many thousands of characters, making it a challenge to learn. Still, this system is used in a country where people speak many languages. Spoken Chinese is different across the country, but all Chinese speakers use the same characters. In a sense, Chinese characters are like numbers. A number has the same meaning in many languages, even if the spoken word used for that number is different in each of those languages. Bronze metalworking. Shang artisans created pottery and jade carvings, but they are best known for their bronze metalworking. These objects included finely decorated pots, cups, and weapons. Most tools used on a daily basis were not made out of bronze. The Shang used the expensive, beautiful bronze in religious ceremonies. Human and animal sacrifices were prepared with bronze blades. They also offered food and wine to their gods and ancestors in the hope that these spirits would help them.